Coming up on LUTV News, for some people, whether to get a flu shot or not has always been up for debate, but others are now wondering if COVID-19 is changing that conversation. Plus, with food insecurity at an all-time high, we look at how one local food bank is keeping up with demand during the pandemic. And the show must go on. Lindenwood Theater Department keeps up with their show rehearsals with COVID-19 restrictions. Those stories and more ahead on LUTV News. Welcome to this edition of LUTV News. I'm Claire Beaudry. Many people debate every year whether or not to get the flu shot. LUTV Will Crawford goes in depth into the vaccine and its importance.
COVID-19 has taken the world by storm and has ruined so much for so many, but fall has now started and COVID might not be the only thing giving people sick. According to the Center for Disease Control, it is important for anyone over the age of 6 months to get a flu shot. There's even a shot for children as young as 6 months, and it's for seniors as old as 65 years old. During the 2018-2019 flu vaccination prevented an estimated 4.4 million flu illnesses and 3,500 flu-associated deaths. But how is it important for Lindenwood students?
I think it's important to have the proper precautions, especially in a time when we're in a pandemic. I don't want to risk getting the flu.
Along with the flu shot, Summer says there is other precautions that are very necessary.
Keep wearing your mask, wash your hands, all the basic things. Definitely just keep your distance from people as well.
Despite the CDC not knowing what will happen this flu season, they do predict that the flu will be leading the spread along with COVID. The CDC also says that the vaccine will be more important than ever. People can get the free flu shot at Schnucks, CVS, Walgreens, and more, as long as the patient has insurance. But what about those that feel the shot is not necessary?
In the past, I didn't really feel like the flu shot was necessary just because, when I was younger, my mom never really, took us out to go and get the flu shot. But with Corona being so big and it being everywhere, and the symptoms being a lot like the flu, I feel like this year I might get it just so I'm in the clear.
For more information, you can visit the cdc.gov or the Lindenwood Health Center in Evans Commons. For LUTV, I'm Will Crawford.
To get the flu shot at the Lindenwood Health Center, you need to make an appointment first. The coronavirus pandemic still has the country at a nearly 8% unemployment rate. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Reporter Daniel Bell-Wynn explores how local charity is dealing with the increased demands of families seeking assistance.
It's estimated that as many as 54 million Americans could be food insecure by the end of the year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The St. Louis Area Food Bank, however, is looking to combat this issue. The electrifying energy from these blaring speakers makes this local charity feel like the hottest party in town.
It's a fun working environment. There's always good music playing.
The St. Louis Area Food Bank in Bridgeton, Missouri has been operating since 1975, distributing food to local charitable partners like food pantries, soup kitchens, and homeless shelters in 26 counties across the bi-state region. Ryan Farmer, the director of marketing for the St. Louis Area Food Bank, says as a result of increased unemployment, the organization has seen a 40% increase in food distribution this year.
Hunger can affect anyone, but anyone can affect hunger. We're all one life event away from needing food assistance. We've seen great support, but when you're talking about a pandemic, no one has that crystal ball to know how long this is going to last.
Volunteer Vicky Voss knew she had to lend a hand to fight the food insecurity that would inevitably affect millions of Americans.
Hunger doesn't take a vacation. It doesn't take a break. It doesn't take off for COVID. And we all need to think about each other. We need to serve each other and care for each other.
Ryan Farmer said as of September, the St. Louis Area Food Bank delivered 26 million meals this year to local families needing assistance.
One of the questions that we get a lot is, how can I help? What can I do? Find a way that's meaningful to you. If it's going online and making a donation, great. That helps us bring in more nutritious food. If it's starting a drive-through food drive in your neighborhood, we've seen that as well. Maybe it's coming out and volunteering here or at one of our distributions. As long as there's hungry people, it's important to support organizations like the St. Louis Area Food Bank so that we can continue to bring food into this area.
Daniel Bell-Wynn reporting for LUTV News.
For more information on how to get involved with the St. Louis Area Food Bank, visit their website. Straight ahead on LUTV News, COVID has affected both students and their parents. We'll take a look at how families are adapting to virtual learning when we come back.
At risk for coronavirus: people over 65, people with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes, people undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at higher risk? Avoid close contact with people. Avoid crowds. Stay home if you can. Wash your hands frequently. Learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
Welcome back. The pandemic is redirecting many students to take their classes online. This change is also affecting parents since they often need to juggle new responsibilities. I recently spent time with a family to see how they're dealing with virtual learning with their kids. Many students have gone online for school this year, which can be a struggle to some. Parents have to take time out of their day to help their children while still being a parent, with things like cleaning. And kids still get breaks when needed from the classes at home.
Of course, it's always a challenge to do that because when you're so busy with working full time, it's a lot easier to not pay full attention to your kids' work because you're so busy with your own. So it becomes a challenge and you have to just kind of keep on them all the time.
Due to COVID-19, many students had to go online. This affected parents as well, since they have to help their children when needed. According to the OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they show you steps to go about reopening schools. First step is to conduct a risk assessment for staff. Second step is to develop clear protocols on social distancing. Third step is to revise attendance policies to accommodate health-related absences. And the fourth step is to ensure adequate training of teachers and staff. Many students have decided to take their classes online because of the pandemic. Even though students still have their school books, their school supplies, and also still take notes, their parents will help them if needed, even if they may not like it.
For the most part, I kind of rely on myself to do most of the schoolwork.
Even though people are going online for classes and may not like it, they understand why and deal with it because of COVID. For LUTV News, I'm Claire Beaudry. For more information on nation's plan to reopen schools, go to oecd.org/education. Lindenwood University's theater department is one of many that has made changes to how they operate. Reporter Haley Reeves has the story on what they think they have been doing to continue to perform safely.
Here at Lindenwood University at the J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts, the theater department has had to make quite a few adjustments in how they run rehearsals and even their shows due to COVID-19 restrictions. Masks and social distancing is exactly how these kids keep their rehearsals safe.
But there are some little things that we definitely take for granted, like there are little moments of touch that I guess we don't really register in real life, but because of social distancing and masks, they're very little challenges that are hard to overcome.
Proof has a cast of 4 people, which makes it easier to work around the limitations COVID has set.
The script was written, I believe, late 1990s or early 2000s, I forget exactly, but we updated it to the present day. So it's September of the year 2020, and people are wearing masks. I would much rather do that and have it just be an accepted part of the world.
They're wearing masks at all times, and they get their temperature checked before every rehearsal.
97-2, Bay wins.
But it's definitely been a struggle with copyright, because there are some shows that let you record and some shows that don't, and they're very, very specific about what you can and can't do. There's no editing that can be done. It's you capture the show as it's happening, and then that's the version that they see. There's also that line, it's when does it stop being live theater and when does it start becoming film?
Rehearsal for Proof are being held in the Emerson Black Box Theater with the door open and a fan circulating the air to keep it as safe as possible.
To have this big wall erected pretty much around every individual makes it really challenging. I have all the respect in the world for the people working on this production. It's not the way any of us would like to be working, but we understand it's just the way it needs to be for now.
This is Haley Reeves for LUTV News.
Lindenwood's theater department will still be recording some shows. For more information, stay updated through the Lindenwood University School of Arts, Media, and Communications Facebook page. Ahead on LUTV News, Lindenwood's women's basketball is back on the court practicing. Find out what coaches and players have to say about the pending season.
This is Jaina, into the future. Do you remember back when I was in 7th grade? Anything that I would do, she would make fun of me, she would laugh at me, she would talk to her friends and whisper. I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just feel a little bit more confident.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, Your football buddy. Your football buddy. You. Your plumber.
Breathe right into your foot.
Your plumber's masseuse.
Yeah.
You. Your dog walker. Your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
As sports teams return to practice, the Lindenwood women's basketball team looks forward to the start of their season. Reporter Billy Woods has the story.
The Lindenwood Lions women's basketball team, led by Coach Katie Falco, returned to practice just a couple days ago. I talked to a few of the players to see what they had to say about the concerns this season on the court.
Oh, it's phenomenal being back. You know, it's certainly a challenge. It's times of uncharted territory in terms of how do we get through COVID, how do we structure practices, how do we keep people healthy and safe. You know, that's definitely a concern. But I can tell you that the energy in the gym has just been incredible. It's so nice to have the ladies here. They're feeding off of each other. You know, it's been really fun.
Despite being limited because of COVID-19 guidelines, which include players and coaches wearing masks at all times and social distancing, the team is still able to practice in groups of 5 and work on individual skill work.
It feels great to be back on the court because overall, like from last year, I only played like half the season, well, kind of towards the end of the season, but now I just feel like I'm much more faster and I'm trying to work to be better than I was last year, like working on my game and like dribbling and stuff like that. So it feels good to be back with my team because like I love basketball and sometimes like being away from it, it was kind of tough because I would get frustrated because I would see like them on the court and I would be like, I wish that was me.
Even though the new limitations can be a hassle, the women's team is thankful to be on the court and potentially playing in games 6 weeks from now.
We're making the best of a situation that is unpredictable every day and things can change. We just want to appreciate every day we have together because at any point it could change.
For LUTV News, I'm Billy Woods.
For updates on the women's basketball team and other Lindenwood sports, check out lindenwoodlions.com or lindenlink.com. That's it for this edition of LUTV News. I'm Claire Beaudry. Thank you for joining us.